Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, on our website, or our social media. It's in the description below, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a 38mm stainless steel 50-piece limited edition created in 2019 for a watch collector group known as the Collective. They are a group of technicians and technical specialists who work in Silicon Valley and have a taste for traditional watchmaking. That partly explains why the watch looks like an Apple store on your wrist. It is the Chronomaster El Primero in 38mm, which means it is beautifully wearable, comfortable, traditionally sized, and timeless in its proportions. 38mm in diameter by 13.9mm thick by 46.6mm lug-to-lug by 19mm between the lugs. Throw the watch on the wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it is quite comfortable. Down the barrel, there's plenty of clearance on both sides of my wrist. Over the top, you can see that there's, again, plenty of clearance, and then the cuff shot showing that, while not an ultra thin, it will slide underneath a dress sleeve. You'll also note the watch has a no-date dial with a lovely grayscale composition, but we'll get deeper into that in a moment. The strap is a handsome piece, dark brown, large rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss. You can see there is a monotone stitch, and in profile, there is a folded edge on the underside. Common to many modern Zenith watches, there's a rubber underlay so the leather never touches the skin, and that helps to keep the leather fresh, secure from the moisture, sweat, grit, and oils of the skin. There is a remarkably fresh double deployant twin trigger release clasp, and you can see that Zenith makes a double deployant with the swing arm containing the spring mechanism for the twin triggers. Pull the little pricing tag off, and you can see again the clasp is beautifully preserved with its original factory packaging still around the polished elements. The case is simple and strong. I happen to like the look of the Chronomaster case. I prefer it to the more contemporary and sporty Day-Fi's. Here a combination of silver satin and polished bevels with squared off and cropped lugs gives it a sporty but elegant profile. It's not as severe as the Day-Fi's. You have a no-guard profile with pump pushers and the Zenith star on the crown. Note the contrast between the polished and the satin elements of the case and bezel. The bezel has a vertical portion giving way to a thin conical portion, both polished, and the Chronomaster, which is supposed to evoke vintage pieces in the Zenith collection, pieces from the late 60s to mid-70s. It has a bubble or highly cambered sapphire designed to evoke plexiglass. Now on the dial you can see there is the counterweighted Zenith star, seconds hand, but there is no date. All applique indices, the hands as well as the indices, are steel and rhodium plated for that silvery shine. And then there's a tachymeter outboard that can be used with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object over a fixed course, such as a mile or a kilometer. Of course, there's a lot of depth to this dial, sloping down from the tachymeter, which doubles as a rayhote. We have the indices, we have the minutes and seconds track outboard, and then we have 3 sunken registers at center. Turn the watch over, and you can see it is known as the C.01. So this is technically the Chronomaster El Primero C.01 for the Collective. And another refinement that you get here is the chronometer certification. Not every El Primero is COSC certified. This one is. And it's 100 meters water resistant, so though this is an elegant and traditional shape, nevertheless put it on a water resistant band, it is swimmable. The El Primero is a good looking chronograph. This watch was made in 50 pieces for 2019 because that was the 50th anniversary of the original El Primero, which in 1969 became the first automatic integrated high beat chronograph caliber. Now you can see it is a column wheel lateral clutch caliber with the lateral clutch fully visible and a blued column wheel. The column wheel makes it crisp to actuate, and it's traditional column wheel architecture that defines the better chronographs. It's a bidirectional winder, as most standard El Primeros are, pivots on 31 jewels. It beats away at the signature 10 beats per second or 36,000 vibrations per hour. The only feature it does not include is hacking seconds, but it has everything else you could want, including considerable beauty. As you'll note, a combination of engine turning, satin finish, and high polish with both fired blue and polished screws used in the composition. This is, of course, a 50-hour power reserve, set it and forget it accurate, and with the 10 beat per second escapement, you actually have a smoother sweep to the chronograph seconds hand. This is one of the best recent Zenith special editions, and if you're not deeply engaged with the watch community, it could be an easy one to miss, but this is a memorable piece that will look just as good come the 100th anniversary of the El Primero, long after every iPhone has fizzled out. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. All right, we're going to go to our Lume shot, but before we do, two more notables on this watch. As you can see, the seconds hand is entirely rhodium coated rather than the conventional red varnish. That is a special feature just for the collective C.01. And when you turn the watch over, this is not exclusive to this model, but it's great design. There's a little kerf underneath the crown that allows you to dig your nail in more easily. Zenith, you thought of everything. Let's go to the Lume shot. And you can see that there is differential lume. This watch featuring green lume for the hour hand to set it apart from the rest of the dial. That is the C.01.